we know that wherever we gather, you are already there by the time we get there. We know that you are always in the midst of anything that is good and perfect. And this occasion is good and perfect, God. And so we ask that you gather and clear out anything that would keep us from doing what it is that you would have us to do at this very moment, God. This is a serious issue in our community. Yes, and we are here this evening because we will break this silence, God. Yeah. That we will commit ourselves to looking at this issue and come out of our denial and face what it is that allows us, face what it is that keeps us from looking at this issue with the seriousness that it deserves. We will lose no more dignity. We will lose no more lives. We will lose no more hope. Right now, God, I claim in this instance, as we nourish ourselves with this food, we will nourish ourselves with this program and move forward with a new conviction that we will begin to look at ourselves and then look at others and be fed this evening not only with this physical nourishment, but with the spiritual nourishment that will allow us to be bigger and allow us to be better. Today is good, but tomorrow will be better, and the best is yet to come. Amen, amen, and amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Bozeman. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We always have to invoke our gatherings with a word of prayer. I do want to offer us to eat at this time. Well, our lovely police officers, our director is here, our commanding officer is here. Steph, please come on up. These gentlemen will be happy to serve any of the seniors that would like a plate. If you just raise your hand, they'll bring you a full plate. I'm going to bring 3 fish and 5 loaves if they would come forward. Brother J.E., come forward. They're going to tell you about our menu today. If you put yeast in it. 2 fish and 5. Don't delay the meal. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 fish and 5 loaves. They've always been able to come forward and help this city, whatever we're doing, whether it be with seniors, any of our community programs with our children. Certainly we called on them and they said this is an hour that they could not put forward because domestic violence is important in this community. They stepped forward to serve. I want to bring you 2 fish and 5 loaves. That's the NIV version. But they will explain what's going to be on the menu today. Thank you.
Good evening, good evening. Thanks for inviting us. My name is Kim Williams and this is BJ Johnson, and we're here representing 2 fish and 5 loaves. Today your menu is fried fish, vegetarian beans, coleslaw, and cornbread. Okay, you guys ready for a good meal? I know that's right. Have a great time, guys.
Thank you very much. So if you don't eat fried food, just raise your hand. If you don't eat fried food, raise your hand. If you're watching your sugar, raise your hand, because we won't bring that to you. All right, so as we have our program, the police force will start to bring around your meals so that you can eat and we can speak while the program is starting. I do want to introduce some people that are here. Certainly our Councilman Cliff Ross is here. Thank you, sir. You'll hear from him on the program as well. South Ward Councilwoman Jamie Summers Johnson is here. The person who started spearheading this event to make sure that we bring public notice to it, certainly our at-large Councilwoman Adrienne Rutan is here. A member who has served on our Board of Education, served as its president, is on the ballot again to be elected to the school board. Lydell Carter is here. Thank you for what you do for our children. This is a very important event that we do every year, because each time that we do it, we still go back and our police still report and our courts still report and our nonprofit agencies still report that this plague is still in our community. And we won't stop until it's totally gone. No matter what household you came from, no matter where you were raised, in that community, I guarantee you that there were strong women in that community raising families, working, building the community, and they've consistently been victims of domestic violence, so we want to stop it. But we want to stop violence across the board. There are men out there who are victims of domestic violence. What we're praying for and looking for is peace in our homes, peace in our community, so that our children can see a balanced and peaceful environment to grow up in. One of my tasks today is to introduce the person who makes sure that we have this every year. She is a tireless worker. She is an advocate for strong women. She made sure that we had a period in our city council where women were in the majority, women presided. Certainly I work with her in many of the projects that we do just because she's committed to this community. She's committed to making us better. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our at-large council person, Adrienne Wooten.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Councilwoman Adrienne Wooten. I'm an at-large council person in the city of Orange Township. This is an initiative, or this is something that whenever I became a council person, I wanted to make sure that it was seen, it was heard in the city of Orange Township. This is my third annual tree lighting, but prior to that, we did a purple ribbon, installation. I am a domestic violence survivor. I am a domestic violence survivor for over 30 years. So if you're out there and you're going through something, it can be stopped and you can get out of it. I have a group of people here tonight that care about you as people, they care about you as women, they care about you as men, and the violence has to stop. So that's one of our I'm nervous. One of our service is, like you see the ladies with the Break the Silence sweatshirts on. And we say, stop the violence, break the silence. And we say that because it is something, when it happens to you, you are ashamed. So you don't tell anybody. You don't tell your best friend. You don't tell your mom. And for God's sakes, if you're a woman, you don't tell your dad. You keep it all to yourself. So it is something of shame. You try to shield it from your children, but I remember when I told my children I was finally divorcing my ex, my daughter said to me, we knew something was wrong a long time ago, so why didn't you do it then? So that made me think, when you think the children don't see you, they see you, they hear you, and they know the things that are going on with you. So it's important. Mayor Warren and I spoke about it. Director Todd Warren and I spoke about it. The police department is on board with it. And I just wanted to make sure that we continue this in the city of Orange Township. So thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. I hope that you learned something. We're videotaping. I hope that something said here tonight touches someone's heart. Thank you so much.
Let's give a big hand for Councilwoman Wooten. Again, thank you everyone that came out. Break the Silence is everywhere, and they want to make sure that this is heard. Thank you, ladies, for always supporting the things that we do. On top of domestic violence, we have to have sensitive police who can go into situations and make sure that we deal with people accordingly, swiftly, but that we have some protections around the victim. And certainly that has been one of the themes in our police department. I want to bring forward the director of the police department to tell you about some of the activities that we do around domestic violence and making sure that families are safe. Ladies and gentlemen, Director of the Orange Police, Todd Warren.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I want to commend the mayor, the councilwoman at large, Adrienne Wooten, and all the council persons that are here for holding this event. It is very important, and here I stand before you today as the director of the Orange Police Department to stand in solidarity with women, to denounce domestic violence. There is no place within our society for it, and we at the Orange Police Department will not stand for it. Women are the mothers of civilization, and they must be held to a high standard, and a nation can go no further than its treatment of its women. Our elders are here. Your shoulders we stand on, and we appreciate all that you've done for us. You've led the way for us, you've guided us, you've nurtured us, and it's just our way of saying thank you at the Orange Police Department to support you in all that you do. We have an anonymous tip line number that you can call. If you have an emergency, it's 24 hours. You can send in a text, you can make a telephone call, you can send in photographs, and it's anonymous. The tip line has been instrumental in resolving a lot of issues that we had within the city of Orange Township. It has helped solve a lot of crimes. And I want you all to know that we take domestic violence very seriously. There is nothing more serious than abuse of children and women. And we stand with you, my commanding officer, Vincent Vidiello, my command staff, Captain Harris, Captain Baptist, Captain Bogier, Captain Dunn. We all stand in solidarity with women, not just in the city of Orange Township, but across the world. Thank you, and may God bless you all. And I want to bring up our divert coordinator, the one and only, Tony Wingfield.
Can you give us that tip number?
I'm gonna get it. I'll have the anonymous tip line number for you in a second. I'm going to have cards to pass out.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Tony Wingfield. How's everybody doing today? Hello, my name is Tony Wingfield. How's everybody doing today? Divert is a program that's in basically every city in New Jersey at the police department. Divert is a domestic intervention violence education resource team, I'm sorry. And with this, you can come to any of us. We are 24/7. If you're in trouble, if you're afraid to leave, you can call us. We will meet you at the police department. We place you where we know that you're safe, and then from there we'll go on with the restraining orders, permanent ones. Can you hear me? I also have help from Police Officer Robert Cherry, Police Officer Paul Hill, and also my Sergeant Stefanelli. Anytime anyone is in any kind of trouble, especially with children, a lot of women are afraid to leave because they have children. And basically it's over 1 million women a year are caught up in domestic violence, but 585,000 men a year are also caught up in domestic violence. So it goes both ways. It's just not the man being the abuser. It could be the woman also. Is that better? I have wrote some point notes because I'm not good for speaking. Most of the times, when a person is in a domestic violence situation, they will leave the situation, but they will only go for at least 2 weeks, and then they end up going back, and that's when the abuse gets worse. Men or women. If you need help, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. If you know that somebody is being abused, you can also help them too. It can be anonymous. We will meet you at the police department, and we will do our best to get you somewhere where we know that you're safe, and then we can work on getting all the other stuff taken care of. Your placement, your children being safe. That's the most important thing. After a person has abused you, when they feel that they can't do it to you anymore, they'll start on your children. And that's what you don't want. We have fundings through Divert, and when anytime those things happen, it's a process, but as long as we know that you're safe, the process is good. But you have to understand, once you file that restraining order, we have to do what we have to do to protect you. If you go back, we still have to do our job to protect you. So you have to think, and you have to think twice and think about your safety. As far as the children goes, we also take care of them. Make sure they go to school. Make sure that he's not around. They're protected at all times. There's a number that will be given to you. There's a booklet that's in these packages that you can look at. Anything else you need to know, I'll be more than welcome to help you. Sergeant Stefanelli will be more than able to help you. Thank you. Any questions?
What divert is again? What does divert stand for?
Domestic Intervention Violence Education Resource Team.
Can you hear me? No. Domestic Intervention Violence Resource Team. That is Divert. It's located at the Orange Police Department at 29 Park Street. You come there, you ask for Tony Wingfield, you get all the resources that you need, from placement, protection for your children. We'll call the courts. We'll support you in whatever way is necessary. And this is part of the city of Orange Township, part of the services that we provide. Tony, thank you for your valiant efforts on behalf of the Divert team. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Can she repeat about men being abused too? Because the mic went out.
absolutely.
And I want people to hear that.
Tony, there was just, you may have to speak loudly. There was just a question about whether or not Divert resources are only for women, or is it also for men and children in domestic violence situations as well?
It is not just for women, it's also for men. Over 1 million women are abused every year, but over 585,000 men are also abused too.
Thank you, Tony, for all your work. In order for us to keep our resources in the city and to make sure that they're available to our residents, me as mayor can put forth all of the programs that I want, but there has to be a team approach in government, and I do want to bring one of the representatives of the city council forward. Brother Cliff Ross is the baby of the bunch to the city council, having just been elected, but he comes with a history of service to our town and wants to make sure we continue our resources. Ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Cliff Ross.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. Again, Clifford Ross, Councilman at Large. I just have a few words to say. Mental illness and domestic violence is a disease. It's an illness, okay? But it's a curable illness and disease, okay? It's a disease like alcoholism, like drug abuse, okay? But it's something that, you know, if you catch at an early time, it's a curable disease. It's a terrible one, but we have resources that's available for everyone, you know, for you to come talk to, get therapy or get whatever you need so that we can get rid of this, because it is a terrible thing and we don't need it. And I just want to say that the council supports domestic violence 110%. And I want to congratulate Councilwoman Wooten for bringing the awareness to the city, and we will continue to do whatever we can do to help you. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Cliff Ross. Thank you, sir. Another council member is going to come forward because she brings a particular approach to the issue of domestic violence. She is a career teacher and has a fundamental belief that if our kids are healthy, our community can be healthy. So I want to bring forward South Ward Councilwoman Jamie Summers Johnson. Hold it just like that.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes, I have been a teacher for 25 years in urban education, and one thing that I can tell you about what COVID has done is it has forced our children to be in the home, and it might not be a good home. So where they came to school for, you know, that love and that attention, now they're forced to be in the home with the father that's abusing, or the mother. And I just want any women out there to understand, we're asking you to leave for yourself, but we're really asking you to leave for your children, to break this vicious cycle. I have never been a victim of it, but I definitely have family members, and I thank God that they were able to get through it. I can't imagine, I didn't grow up with it, like I said, but it must be very scary. It's easy to say leave, right? You have no money saved up, you have nowhere to go. So for us, it might seem easy, but I'm speaking on behalf of the children as a teacher. When they bring that news to us, it's like we can't sleep at night. And we have to call the services in. And then sometimes when we call the services in, they have to keep them in their home because, you know, they don't have any place else to put them, the children. So I'm speaking from a teacher. There's some other teachers out here that know what I'm talking about. So I am a councilwoman, but teaching is like my first absolute love. So we are, it's important that we legislate for these things. The census, people don't understand the census equals money, and if we have the money, then we can have these programs. I think Councilman Wooten, we didn't start having these type of purple lightings and bringing attention to domestic violence until she became a council person, and that's what's great about the council. You bring what's important to you, and then we all benefit from it. So I thank Councilman Wooten for bringing it to the City of Orange. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jeremy Summers Johnson. I do want to acknowledge my wife, Dr. Karma Brown, I believe is in the back somewhere. Doctor, thank you for being here in support of us. Before I bring up Ms. Perrier has a particular view about domestic violence and a perspective that is very important that we have to hear. But I do want to get greetings from Councilman Weldon Montague, who is here. Thank you, sir, very much. We'll bring you back up because I want to get Ms. Perrier on. It's very important that we hear her perspective. She's an advocate. She's a survivor from my hometown of Newark. But her message is never back down, always stand up and stay in this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Perrier.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Danita Perrier. I am a survivor of over 20 years. Excuse me.
It's okay. It's okay. Take your time.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Take your time.
My abuse, as there are many different types of abuse, my abuse was emotional and mental, which is almost as hard to break as the physical piece of it, because you have to live with the mindset of what you're being told by your abuser. And my abuser was not only my partner, it came from family. So when they say the ones that are closest to you hurt you the most, that's the truth. But I'm here to say that I am an overcomer. I am a victor.
Let's hear it.
Domestic violence once had me, it no longer has me. I am a newly certified domestic violence advocate, where I will be working with women, men, and children that have gone through circumstances like myself. I also work with a referral agency called SOFIA, and that stands for Start Out Fresh Intervention Advocates. And under the leadership of Ms. Cynthia Walker, who is our CEO and founder, we provide resources, support groups, and referral services for men, women, and families. And we work hard every day to make sure that we try not to lose another life to domestic violence. So thank you for having me here this evening. And also, at one point I was broken down mentally, but now I stand here true as your current Miss Exquisite full figure of New Jersey. So if I was still in my abusive stage, I would have never been able to conquer and become what I am today. So thank you and have a great evening.
Let's give it up for Miss Exquisite Full Figure. We have a queen in our midst. Thank you, Miss Perrier, for all that you do for this community. Thank you. Real quickly, I'm going to bring up Weldon Montague to say hello. I told him that after 2 seconds, the mic is going to shut off. Okay. But Weldon has a particular experience when domestic violence goes through homes and starts to break up homes, when there are jobs at stake and other things that are in jeopardy. This is where he comes in. Ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Weldon Montague.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Weldon Montague, Councilman at Large, City of Orange. Domestic violence and anything that happens to women is very dear to me because I lost my mother in 2015. I have a daughter. I have so much respect. Nobody deserves to go through any of this. Never. So usually what I do, I work with Department of Labor as well as a councilman. I help put families back together. I help them pick up the pieces with housing, jobs, etc. So if anybody needs my assistance, just come see me. I have an open door policy. I think the mic is getting ready to cut off. But if you need me, you can talk to the mayor, give me a call. I have everybody in Orange in their best interest. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Weldon Montague. It's good to have good energy on the city council. I want to return back to the process. There's domestic violence in your home, you contact the police, certainly they come, but then it's the prosecution. You go into courts and you want to find out what's happening with the case, restraining orders. I just want to bring up Teresa Pollard, who is our prosecutor, who gets these cases and recommends them to the court. Ladies and gentlemen, Prosecutor Teresa Pollard.
Yes, right here.
That's the only way it'll work? Yes. Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to commend the Divert team and the work that they do. I want to commend the Orange Police Department. I want to commend Councilwoman Wooten. The major part of this is we can get them to court, but we have to give them the courage and the wherewithal to press the charges. The number of cases I've seen which have increased tremendously during the COVID crisis are sad. Cases where someone has come to the police department, made a police report, he punched me, he hit me, and not let one slam the door and broke 3 fingers. And then we get the phone number and I call them. Hi, my name is Teresa Pollard, I'm with the Orange Police Department, you have a complaint against so-and-so. Or I don't want to go forward. You know, I'm unwilling to go forward. There are consequences to going forward with a domestic violence complaint. There's a registry, right? Someone might lose their job, you'll lose your housing, and oftentimes the victims are willing to put up with abuse in order not to have the aggressor being put on a domestic violence registry. And we have to be able to give them the confidence that when Divert steps in, that they can go forward past that. It's sad and it hurts my heart every time I have multiple domestic violence complaints and the victim won't call in, or they'll call in and say, I don't want to press a charge. And it's not a simple case of someone yelled at me. It is physical violence. There's bruises, there's lacerations. You know, police were called multiple times. So I hope that we continue this work and get our victims to speak up, to break the silence and to press charges, because that's the only way we're going to help solve this problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor. By the way, there's plenty of food. If anybody wants seconds, you'll see our police department out. If anybody wants any seconds, if you want to take a plate home, let them know. They'll be able to prepare that as well. We have plenty of food. And if they want to take some home, that'll be fine. To round out our program, I want to bring someone from our community who is an expert in counseling, who is a single mother, who is raising women, who is a strong force in our community, is working with the Board of Education, who wants women and men to stand up and have peaceful and relaxed homes so that we can produce decent children in our community. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you would welcome Fatima Turner.
Thank you, Mayor Warren. Hi, hello to all you fabulous citizens of Orange. My name again is Fatima Turner, and yes, I am an expert in counseling and providing therapeutic services to victims of domestic violence, but I am also a victim of domestic violence. Not in a sense that you think. There are populations that are affected by domestic violence that are often ignored and overlooked. So yes, men and women are victims of domestic violence, but I heard Councilwoman Summers mention this. We often miss how domestic violence affects our children. When I was 6 years old, and this is not the time, it's one of the times that my mother's boyfriend, my brother's father, is it okay if I'm gonna pull my mask down. He beat my mother. I was about 6 years old. My mother was pregnant with my brother. He beat my mother so bad that we were living in New Orleans. She escaped to I think it was a trolley or something, and we ended up in a battered women's shelter. We lived in a battered women's shelter for about 6 months. My mother was unconscious for maybe about 2 months when no one knew who she was or who I was. This was not the most traumatic time. What was more traumatic for me is that my mother repeatedly went back to this man, repeatedly. So what we often forget is that, yes, women are victims, but the children are victims as well. It causes trauma, and that trauma oftentimes, triggers down, and it stays from generation to generation. So in addition to children being victims, we often forget about the fact that our seniors have been victims as well. I have had countless seniors that have come to me that are victims of domestic violence, and they are afraid to speak because they feel like, where are they going to go? Another misconception is that abusers are just our husbands, our men. Abusers are our husbands, they are our men, they are our fathers, they are our brothers, they are our nephews. Anything in a domestic capacity is an abuser. What we as supporters of these victims have to do is we cannot belittle them. We can't ask questions like, why do they stay? They must like it. What did she do? These things demoralize the victim, and it stops them from speaking up. We have to stop doing that. Another thing that I found in my experience is that we normalize abuse within our children. So if a boy hits our daughters, we tell them, oh, he must like you. If a brother hits his sister or speaks to his sister in a violent tone, we tell them, oh, he's just being a boy. We normalize it. So when they get older, if a man speaks to them in a harsh tone, they think, oh, he must love me. Oh, he must like me. Oh, that's just how boys do. That's just how men do. We are just as responsible for stopping this issue as police are, as our clergy are. The other thing that we need to be aware of is that COVID is sort of an incubator for domestic violence. Just in March, I think it was late March in East Hanover, a man 76 years old, he was a physicist at Beth Israel Medical Center. He shot and killed his wife. He had no record. He had no history of domestic violence. Abusers don't have a look. They don't have a job. They don't have a title. You can't say, oh, I know him, he's the pastor of a church. Or I know him, he's a doctor. Oh, I know him, he's a police officer. There's no way. No. Abusers don't have a look. So, I am being told to...
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Men, yes, men are victims of domestic violence. They are. Men are victims of domestic violence, and we do have to acknowledge that. We as women sometimes can't, not sometimes, oftentimes. I do have some statistics on my phone, but I'm not going to bore you guys with that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is read some common myths that I have jotted down about domestic violence. We often say it's a family matter. It's not a family matter. It is very much a public matter because it affects us on a public basis. It is not. We often say it's not everybody's business. That's why women don't talk, because we are always taught as kids, don't tell your business. Don't tell your business. No, if you see somebody hit me, tell, because I might not be able to tell anyone. Another population that we often forget is immigrants and illegal immigrants, because they can't talk. They are afraid to talk. So it's not a private matter. Another myth is that most of the time it's not serious. Oh, it was in the heat of passion. Fact is, domestic violence is illegal. You do not deserve to be hit. You do not deserve to be manipulated financially, because domestic violence also comes in the form of financial abuse. You don't have a job. Where are you going to go? You can't leave. You got all these kids. You're overweight. You're ugly. Nobody's ever going to want you. They demoralize their victims so that they can stay. Victims promote partner violence. I have witnessed my mother provoke men to hit her. That doesn't mean that she deserved it. That means that she had some mental illness, some mental issues that she needed addressed. It doesn't mean that she deserved to be victimized by any man. It's easy for a victim to leave their abuser. It's not always easy. Lots of times people don't believe them. Where's the proof? It's not easy. It's not easy emotionally. Sometimes women have kids. They don't want to break up their home. They don't want the stigma of being divorced. And it's not always physical. I heard a few people touch on that. And another misconception, again, I have clientele of seniors. Domestic violence can occur in older women and kids. I also worked as a vice principal in the school system and a social worker for many years. These little girls are getting abused. These boys are hitting them, and they are accepting it. So what can we do? We can believe them. We can believe them. We can report. If you see someone in your neighborhood that you even think, report it. I'm sorry, if I hear screaming and I'm calling the police, because somebody did not call the police for my mother. When my mother ended up in the hospital with broken ribs, and I ended up being shipped back to New Jersey to live with my grandmother, nobody called the police. So if I see something, I'm saying something, and I encourage you all to do the same. Thank you.
Fatima Turner, let's give it to her. Please remember what you hear and put it into practice. Please know that when these things come to light, that we should start to trigger to make sure that our community is protected no matter who you are. You're not a busybody. You're there because you are part of the community. Our last speaker before I bring Adrian on to actually turn the lights on to celebrate this domestic violence prevention program, I would like to bring up the First Lady of the City of Orange Township, Dr. Karma Warren.
Okay. I just was speaking as an ER doctor. I work at University Hospital downtown in the ER, and I can't tell you the countless number of cases that I see of abuse. And it was spoken earlier. Fatima spoke very well about the statistics. They're very real. I see it constantly in the ER. Just my last shift, I had a male who had been abused by his wife for the last 10 years, and she broke his face because she punched his face in. So it's very real. We are trained to look for some of those signs. So you may not feel comfortable telling us, but just for the fact that we look at your chart, we see the injuries that are not consistent with an accidental injury, we are automatically going to get you help. So if you feel comfortable enough to come to the ER, trust and know that you have a friend and that we are here to support you. Thank you.
Talk about the significance of the lights.
Say what?
The significance of the lights.
So we're going to light a tree purple, and it's going to remain lit throughout the entire month of October. We are going to light this tree in the color purple in honor of domestic violence awareness. So when people drive down Main Street in Orange, New Jersey, they're going to know why this tree is lit purple. It's a serious matter. We always want to bring awareness to it. And I just want to say thank you for so many people coming out tonight. Thank you for all of your support. You are a wonderful group of people. I have a wonderful group of council colleagues. They support us. We support each other. Thank you for the community people. Thank you for Dr. Bozeman for always being here for us. The Hardaways, Miss Myrna right here. I'm sorry? Oh. Okay. So I think I'm being rushed. So I encourage the purple lights. Encourage the purple lights in your home. If you can, put a purple holiday light in your home, or light your shrubbery purple. But right here in the city of Orange Township, we're going to light this tree purple. So Mayor Warren, do you do the honors, or First Lady Warren, or?
Okay, are we ready? There we are. There we are. I had the job of actually making sure that the tree was wrapped in all purple, so please don't criticize my work. But as you see it when you drive by, we're going to perfect it so that it's right. I'm going to get a group of strong women to help me actually wrap it so that it's done correctly. But it is a symbol of what we feel about domestic violence in the city of Orange Township, and we want to prevent it from happening anywhere, anytime, especially right in this location. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you. This is very important to my administration. Ever since I've been mayor, we have done this. We'll continue to do it. This should be institutional part of what goes on in the city of Orange Township and every other community as well. Thank you all for coming out. It has been a great evening. This concludes our program. But remember, there is food. You can take food home. I cooked all this food to make sure that we were nourished, and I want to make sure that all of my efforts do not go to waste. So please eat, drink the water, and be merry. Thank you all for coming out. God bless. Hi, this is Mayor Dwayne Warren. We're in Military Park right here on Main Street because today is the day that we move to prevent domestic violence in the city of Orange Township and throughout the state. I have special guests with me today because they are part of a movement to break the silence. Young lady, what's your name and why are you here today?
My name is Demia Towns, and I'm here to support domestic violence. And I'm also here to support my pageant sisters, and I'm here to support everyone.
Now tell me about your pageant and tell me what kind of statements that makes about pride that you have in yourself, your community, and all survivors of domestic violence.
Okay. Now, you know, with the pageant, you know, as being a plus size, nobody didn't want us. But now, you know, we are here to stay. You know, I encourage everybody, no matter who you are, love yourself. Don't be ashamed of your body. Don't let nobody take your joy. Just be proud and come out and support.
Love yourself, take pride in yourself, stand up against abuse, stand up against bad situations. Thank you for representing the way you did. Now we have the current Queen, Miss Exquisite, and I want you to just speak about your pageant experience, but more importantly, talk about the market share that full-figured women are making and why there's a shift to make sure that we appreciate all they bring to bear to the market as well.
Well, in the full-figure plus industry, a lot of women have always been looked at as other or opposite of what we really are, which is beautiful, confident, self-worthy, and so much more. So with the pageantry system of Miss Full-Figured USA, we are here to show that sizes 12 and up, ages 18 to 60, we have it going on, and we have a lot to offer.
Amen. A lot to offer, both in their person and in their spirits, the way they're supporting this community. Finally, Sister Full-Figured, sometimes violators will use our figure, the way we look, against us, hurt our self-esteem, and start the abuse cycle. Tell me what we're doing to reverse that.
What we're doing is promoting self-worth, letting everyone know that you have gifts and talents inside you. And once you learn to cultivate those gifts and talents and realize that you do have worth, No one, no thing, or anybody can break you, stop you, and keep you from moving forward. So our job here is to promote self-worth, self-love, and understand that you have a great gift inside of you, and never let anyone take that gift away from you.
She said it all. I have to say no more. Behind me is beauty, brains, and God-given talent that we want to keep forever. Ladies, thank you for all that you do. Appreciate it. Hi, on Main Street, Domestic Violence Prevention 2020. We've lit the tree, but it is important to speak to those who were involved and who gave us some assessment. Fatima Turner, you're a professional counselor. You're in the schools. You're everywhere where people need to be to get to you. Tell me about the demand you've been getting for counseling services in domestic violence sector.
Well, for one, within our school system, we have lots of reports from teenagers and preteens who are experiencing domestic violence. Oftentimes, it's looked at as a joke, and we don't take it serious. But as we've seen in recent history, there have been some domestic blah blah.
Okay. No.
It can't be flat.
Yeah, like that. That's good. That's not flat. Can you see her good? You see her face better? Yeah. Hi, Fatima Turner. As a professional counselor, you've seen domestic violence from all reaches, but most importantly, in the schools, you're seeing a particular breed of domestic violence that we should be careful of.
Yes, absolutely. So as a former school social worker, vice principal, and counselor, I've seen an influx of reports of domestic violence within our school system. Girls are reporting domestic violence, and it's often taken as a joke, but we can't take it as a joke. We've seen a few cases that has even resulted in deaths of these young ladies.
Wow.
So it's not a joke. We need to take it serious.
Now, what are some of the signs that we need to look for as parents, as teachers, when we see this kind of domestic violence?
I would say, we want to give our kids privacy, but we need to sometimes monitor their text messages. We need to look for bruises on them. We need to look for our children making excuses for young boys. We also need to look at the type of kids that they're hanging around. We need to look at whether or not they're, engaging in drug use and all those things. Talk to your kids. Talk to them. And if you see any cues, any suggestion that they are being abused, you need to act upon it.
And then finally, I know that you always preach that victims of domestic violence could be men or women, but talk to us about the abusers and what are the kind of things that we need to get to them so that they can stop the abuse as well.
Oftentimes, abusers have been abused. Hurt people hurt people. They've often been abused themselves. So what we need to look at the aggression. It may not always start with a hit. It may start with a yell. It may start with withholding money or saying you can't leave the house. Things like that. Those are all cues that we need to look at in abusers. And abusers can be victims. We don't want to look at them as victims, but oftentimes they have been victims themselves. And like I said, hurt people hurt people. Let's get everyone help.
That's right. Getting everyone help, that is what we aim to do in order to prevent domestic violence in the city of Orange Township. Here we are at the Domestic Violence Prevention Celebration here in the city of Orange Township, right here on Main Street. Hi, this is Mayor Warren. We're on Main Street. We're stopping the domestic violence. This is a family affair. I have mother and daughter. I'm not going to tell you which one is which. Young lady, why are you here?
I'm here because we need to stop domestic violence. We need to have survivors. It's not just like it's like a pandemic, like we're going through right now.
That's right.
So we need to put a stop to it right now.
Stop it right now. Sis, you came out with Mom today because you wanted your voice heard. Why is that so important?
It's so important to me because I am a survivor. I say survivor and not victim because I am victorious. We need to break the silence. Love does not hurt. Love is not abuse. Prevention is better than a cure. I don't look like what I've been through, but I'm here to let you know, open up your mouth and have a voice. And we need to be more courageous about it, bold about it, and we need to talk about it with our young girls to let them know it is not okay. We need to inform them when it's time for them to date, that they look at the signs. We need to go to the high schools and the middle schools to let them know. And my motto is pray and then peck. Domestic violence has to stop.
There you heard it from the young girls all the way up. We have to be bold about it. We have to teach our children about it. But most of all, we have to be involved in our community to make domestic violence stop now. Here on Main Street, Stop the Domestic Violence. I'm here with the police department. This is our commanding officer, Vinny Vitiello. Vinny, you get these calls all the time. Tell me what special training your officers have to deal with domestic violence.
Well, our officers have special training from the Attorney General guidelines on how to deal with domestic violence, and they also have sensitivity training on how to deal with the victim and or the assailant. And with that being said, we also have our team. It's called DIVERT, Domestic Violence Response Team. So what happens is if you're the victim of an assault, you have the option of coming in and speaking to this individual, and they'll give you all the options possible that you could go through in order to prevent this from happening again. Because no woman, no man, no child ever deserves to have a hand put on them.
And you also have a team that'll go out to the scene.
Oh, without question, yes, you're right, Mayor. Our police officers will respond immediately to any call of domestic violence. And we will go there and we'll call our team and we can bring them in and meet them at headquarters. However they feel the most comfortable with, we will cater to their needs.
And just tell me about, you have a connection with the Essex County Prosecutor's Office as well, in terms of getting final restraining orders and so forth.
Correct. A restraining order, we can get it immediately, no matter what time of day, hour. We have emergent on-call duty judges that'll issue this order. So you could get it immediately, and we're there to help you 24/7.
Thank you very much, Vin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Right here on Main Street in the city of Orange Township, I am with a collective of people who are fighting every day to make sure we prevent domestic violence. They came here in support of a program that was initiated by our own Councilwoman Adrienne Wooten. Councilwoman Wooten, you've been doing this ever since I've been mayor. Tell us why this is so important, and can you explain why you get such a tremendous amount of support from all over the region for this kind of event?
Hello, it's important because it's a topic that people hide from people. So it's important for us to come out and let people know that this is nothing to hide. You should not be ashamed of it. Although we are when we're being beaten or we're being talked trash to, we do hide it. We hide it from our loved ones. We hide it from our pastors, our husbands. We hide it from our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our brothers. But since I've become a council person and since I started with you in 2012, I felt it robbery that we not talk about these things that go on in everyone's homes.
Just give a word of advice to those people that we're hiding it from and how they can work to make sure that the victim is comfortable enough that they can start to speak about it and then prevent it.
So although we do hide this from people in our family, if they pay close attention, they will know. They can see the bruises, and if they don't see the bruises, when they touch you and you jerk, they should know. Or if they're playing with you and they raise a hand and you flinch, they should know. So it's not hard to be seen, but you just have to really, really look for it. And if you think that it's going on in someone's home, 9 times out of 10, it is.
There you have it. You saw the signs of those who may be being abused, but I also want to leave you with the signs of those who are healed, who are beautiful, and who are magnificent. We're here preventing domestic violence, City of Orange Township. I'm Dwayne Warren, your mayor.